me out, you bus whack.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Pete and his buses. I'm standing in front of RM1009 and this very bus will be taking part in the East Grinstead Vintage Bus Running Day. And this year, unlike last year, Richard will be doing the driving and I shall be on the back platform making sure everybody is behaving. Now, this event is really cool. Last year was fantastic. It is free, there is lots of buses, hopefully a bit of sunshine. You can jump on those buses and ride around various routes. No money, no charge, and if you do show up, which you should come and say hello to yours truly, and his co-pilot Richard will be very, very happy to see you. So hopefully we'll see you all there. That's Sunday the 27th, this Sunday, RM1009 hitting the road. Now, for those of you that watched the last episode of Pete and his Bus, you'll have seen me go to view and inspect RM467, and this video is the conclusion of that inspection. The question is, did we buy it or did we not? Well, I'm going to tell you in a second, but first, this is what I've been up to for the last few weeks. My first job is to collect the Night Timber bus that is still sitting next to the Cheltenham racecourse. The event was a success and all I've got to do is drive her back.
Everything seems to be okay. There's a little bit of front light damage at the front where the guys have been doing the flooring, so that's something we'll need to address and sort out. She started first turn, which is good. Other than that, I've just got to sort out a bit of seating and stuff upstairs, but I think we're pretty much ready to go for the journey back. Here we go. Right, it's a bit awkward, got to reverse up, we're going to have a go now. Should be okay. Tick, tick, tick. It was really difficult to get out of the spot, and eventually some crane operators were like, dude, we're going to give you a hand, because it was like one of them lovely 19-point turns. I've had a quick look around the bus, everything seems fine. There's a bit of superficial damage, but we're going to worry about that later. And basically, I'm going to go drive it back now. Well, there's a couple of things I need. Diesel, earplugs, and my phone. Let's go!
Is going swimmingly with the lovely Night Timber bus until the brake flag drops down, but before I even had a chance to pull over, it actually went back up, so I have no idea what's going on there, and we will have a look at that once we hopefully get back to base without any further issues. Oh, and for those of you that hadn't noticed, I'm on the M25, known as the largest free car park England has to offer. For the next 2 weeks, I drove this rig across the country courtesy of Racoon. And yes, I know it's not a bus, but it's about the same length as a bus, if not longer. It does about the same speed as a bus, and actually, come to think of it, it uses about the same amount of fuel as a bus does too. So why am I on the road with a Clark's trailer, you ask? Well, Clark's are celebrating the fact that they are 200 years old, and for that reason, they are celebrating and giving people prizes. And the prizes were good. It was anything from a £5 gift voucher to a £100 gift card to a free box of socks and ultimately a free pair of shoes of your choice. And because the prizes were so good, you can imagine wherever we went, it was very, very popular indeed. So I'm cool, right? Apart from the police chase that's been happening next to me. They've just caught this person. Wow, okay. All in a day's work. So that was 2 weeks on the road with Clark's shoes. I will say it was one of the smoothest and easiest to operate tours I've ever done. I didn't do much filming because of course there's no old buses involved, it's kind of off topic. But the reason it was so easy and smooth probably is because there was no old buses involved. I tell a lie, of course, we love old buses. Racoon did a great job in pre-organising all the dates, all the hotel rooms, all the locations, and it was just such plain sailing from day one right through to the end. So a big thank you to Gary and Anthony for setting all of this up. Also a big thank you to the client. In particular, I dealt with Eva and Jackie, who were really, really lovely, and I think they were very happy with the result. It was a huge success. But lastly, the event manager was called Sarah. I worked with her for 2 weeks solid on all the ongoings of this tour. She was a delight to work with, and so I thank you all very much for making this such an enjoyable thing. Now, back to reality. I went out to look at a bus, and the question is, did we buy it or not? For those of you that watched the last episode of Pete and His Bus, you will know that I went to inspect RM467 with the intention of buying it on behalf of a friend of mine who is looking to own a Routemaster. Now, if you guys haven't seen that video, it might be worth you going back there, watching that, because this will all make a lot more sense. But in a nutshell, I found a bus that has the potential to be a great Routemaster, but will probably need a couple of items sorting out. But one significant thing that has happened since making that video is that the previous owner, who had the bus for almost 20 years, who I was told had passed away and the bus was sold out of his estate, got in touch with me. His name is Peter, so another Pete and His Bus. He is alive and well, and what he was able to do, he was able to confirm many of the things that I discovered, which I thought were correct in a certain way. He was able to confirm all those bits to give me basically more peace of mind on this very bus. And these are the things that he confirmed. First of all, he bought the bus in 2004 and he sold it in 2023, not 2017. He had it MOT'd every year and he did all the basic maintenance, and he mentioned the garages that did all the work on it. So this bus has genuinely been looked after. When he bought the bus, the Scania DS9 engine that is in it was only 2 years old. It's what I thought, but he confirmed it, and this is great. This engine is ready to do 2 million miles, basically. He paid £6,000 for the bus, and he paid Ensign, who got the buses out of London Transport, and the bus was last painted in 2004. He had one of the accumulators rebuilt. One of them wasn't rebuilt because it was fine at the moment, but we need to look at it, so that's something we need to check out. And the other thing he mentioned, the one big job which he didn't do, was the kingpins. Now the kingpins involve the steering wheels at the front. They are the pins that make these wheels pivot, and they fit in slot, and over time you get wear and your bus starts to wander and you get uneven tire wear. So quite an important thing to have right if you want to go and use your bus. So I'd like to thank Peter for getting in touch with me and giving all this wonderful information. Again, it confirms that this bus has the potential of being really good. It also explains why the paintwork is the way it is. The body is tired, the paint's flaking off in places, and that is simply because it was last painted in 2004. But I've seen pictures of this bus on the internet, and even as late as 2017 and 18, the bus still looks really shiny and nice, and that shows you if you keep your bus inside, the paint lasts a long time. RM467 has only been outside for 2 years, and it has aged it massively. So, I took all this information, and I took it to my friend, and I said, are you going to buy this bus or not?
Oh, please say no. Please say no. I'm so sick of all these buses.
He said, let's do it. He sent me a load of money, and I'm now going to go pay a man and collect RM467.
There is clearly no hope for us.
So what kind of a deal have I made? Well, as all of you are aware, the bus was actually advertised on eBay for £35,000. But seeing that the bodywork is in the state that it is,
we are now approaching Harlow Town.
I decided to bid the lovely owner Glenn £30,000. And believe it or not, he agreed. But there was one catch. And this is the catch. Glenn and his missus, these are lovely people by the way, they have friends that have a son who is 23 years old and he's been diagnosed with kidney cancer. Basically, Glenn said to me, look Pete, please add £500 to the price of the bus. I will then match that £500 and together we can give £1,000 to the GoFundMe page that has been set up to see if we can help Ollie fight to live another day. And I said, absolutely 100% yes. I have young children of my own, and the thought of losing one of them literally breaks my heart right here. So we've donated £1,000 in the transaction of this bus, and I also promised that I would put it out to you guys. This is a young man with his entire life in front of him. You can donate £1, you can donate 10 grand, we don't mind. But if you guys want to be really generous and help out, the link is on the screen and it's also in the description. So I thank you all very much in advance. So that leaves me with one big task, and that is to drive RM467 back to the barn. But there are a few issues with that. Glenn drove the bus into his yard about 1.5 years ago and it hasn't moved since. And apparently the trees on the driveway have grown somewhat, so hopefully we can actually get it out. Secondly, this bus hasn't done any work for a significant amount of time, and when you do a longer journey, there is always a chance that something goes hideously wrong. But we'll leave that to the bus gods to decide. RM467, it's your turn to hit the road.
So just driven to the petrol station. We're going to have a quick little look around to see if there's any issues. If there is anything major, it'll probably show up straight away. We have got a bit of coolant here, and that's coming out of this because it's overfilled, and this should have a little pipe on it, but that's missing. Yeah, I think that's going to be okay. It looks worse than it is. So here I am, absolutely loving a Routemaster life. And my day is made even better by the sign of the Speedo actually working. But all this joy and fun is short-lived, because as I approach the Dartford Bridge, the stop flag for the brakes comes down and it does not go up. I think I might have lost the brakes.
The problem is, I'm driving up a giant bridge and I still have to go down it on the other side.
They still seem to work at the moment, but I'm going to use them as little as possible just to keep whatever pressure that I have. Fun times!
On my way down, I decide to stick the bus in third gear and let the engine and the drivetrain do the braking for me. Hopefully no one does an emergency stop in front of me. Once I reach further down the bridge, I do actually try the brakes a couple of times to see if I've got any feel whatsoever, and actually they seem to work okay. Has this all been a false alarm? Whilst I'm looking for a safe place to pull over and diagnose this problem, the flag miraculously flies back up, and all seems fine again. So despite the fact that the bus is now running lovely and the brakes are working perfectly, I still pull over because I want to have a look if there is some sort of a major issue that I need to know about.
That's fine. We are losing a little bit of coolant, and that'll be because of this, I hope.
After having a good old look, I simply cannot see anything that is particularly wrong. There is no brake oil on the floor, there's no engine oil on the floor. Apart from the slight loss of coolant, everything seems to be just fine.
I don't know, but what I do know is everything seems to be working. I'm now going to just slowly, gently and cautiously make my way home to the barn so we can have a look at what is going on with this bus.
Luckily, the rest of my journey goes without a hitch. Well, not entirely. I do run into someone else that is having a worse day than me. Luckily, the London Transport issued fire extinguisher was still in this bus.
Whether it is going to even come off. Hell. Yeah? Oh, that's fucking... Oh, mate, I don't believe it! That fire extinguisher is from 2004.
Did it work? That one does, yeah.
Yeah, it will. It's oil fire, isn't it?
It's, yeah, cut off the brakes. No, I'm just a little bit worried. I know it got very hot at the bottom of the seat.
Yeah. The thing is, it can come back, can't it?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not massively worried in a second.
Okay. Never a dull moment.
Never, yeah, well, that's putting it gently.
Yeah.
As I leave the young gentleman on the side of the road with a tractor that is now no longer on fire, I tell him he can keep the ex-London Transport fire extinguisher as a gift. And I take away two things from this very day. The first one is, there's always someone out there having a worse day than you are. And secondly, no matter how old it is, always keep some form of a fire extinguisher on your commercial vehicle. So there we go, RM467 made it to the barn without a single hitch. Ish. Lord Barrington himself will be coming to the barn to do a full-blown inspection on this bus, so we know exactly where we stand, and any issues with the brakes will of course be sorted out. But fear not, I've not lost my confidence with it. It's actually a great bus because apart from the little flag issue and the brake warning, it drives beautifully. In particular the gearbox, it is the sweetest one I've ever operated. And then of course it's mated to that wonderfully giant Scania engine with bags of torque. She is lovely to drive. So, other than that, the poor chap on the side of the road with the fire extinguisher, he offered to pay for it and all sorts, and I said, look, don't worry about it, keep it in case it goes up again. And I did tell my friend, who obviously bought the bus with a fire extinguisher, I said, look, it's missing, and he goes, don't worry, it sounded like it went to a good cause. So that leaves nothing but to say the big thanks to Clark's, Sarah the event manager, the Night Timber team, of course Glenn and his missus who sold the bus to us, and all of you guys for watching. And completely off topic, I've got a really sweet clip. You know, I bought the tractor some time ago. It was actually for my nephew so he can go drive it. Well, I've had all sorts of problems with the tractor, as you guys know, but they're all solved, and here is some footage of him living his best tractor life. Thank you so much for watching, guys. See you next time on Pete and his bus.